Hello there, this is Tippo and this is Testing Classic ATVs. If you see what I'm looking at, this is a 2001, very first year of it, Yamaha Raptor 660. And I was going to test it for you guys today. However, I ran into a few snags. Decided to rain, number one. Number two, the bike did not want to work with me. Now, I've had this for 2-3 weeks now. And I did a lot of work to it, but obviously hadn't made it 100%. The tire seems to go flat very fast. That one right there. The other ones seem to be pretty good. Now they're mud lights on the back and your typical tire tread on the front. Nothing special, but works pretty good. You can see this stator cover right in front of us is very clean because I did the entire stator cover over. Everything inside of it and pretty much did everything it needed to get done to make the spark work, which is stator, gaskets, new oil, and the basic, not too much work needed with this one. It sparks great and it runs. However, as is with everything I own, it always seems to break. So I was going to test it. It's raining right now. You can see it. So that's one reason why I wouldn't test it in the first place, because I just don't know how it's going to perform. I don't want to get stuck in the woods with it raining on top of me or possible thunderstorms, which were projected to be for today. So anyways, I put the gas on, just try to start it up, and I'll show you what is happening. It's pretty crappy. Let's get the seat up. Okay. Now, I have the battery unplugged for a reason here. And let's see. Okay, I think that's in. And the solenoid unplugged for a reason too. So let's turn the key on and see what it does. Key on. Oh, it's not doing it now. That's a good thing. Oh, what was happening yesterday was whenever you had this connected, the solenoid, for some reason, would just automatically kick on as soon as you clicked the battery to the negative. Just started to go. So I figured the solenoid was bad. But now, regardless, and it's leaking a little bit of oil again, I have to take the case back apart and see if there's missing teeth. So not only did the starter kick on and stay on, must have been a loose connection in here anyways, but what also happened is the starter stopped working. So I don't know what happened here. So I'm going to have to take this whole side off again, look inside of there, make sure nothing stripped, number one. If it did strip, then I'm in a little bit of trouble and I have to order the extra parts. Or two, I'm going to have to go in there and place everything back where it should be. So unfortunately, I could not test out the Raptor today, even in its present condition, which normally I don't like to do. I like to get them running a little bit better than what it currently is. But, you know, I really wanted to get out there. I wanted to get on this thing this weekend. I just stopped by a swap meet, picked up a few more bikes that I might or might not test, depending. I got a CR80. I got a LT160, which I probably won't test for you guys. I also got a couple of the lackluster pieces of equipment, but I really wanted to test the Raptor out. I had one of these with a twist throttle a couple years ago, and it was nuts. It was the special edition, black edition, and when you twisted the throttle, it lifted up and took off. It had a power bomb pipe on it and a few other upgrades. This one doesn't look to be too upgraded. I mean, it's got a White Brothers exhaust. It's super loud when it does run, but yeah, I'm gonna take the valve cover back off. As you see, it's leaking there. So I'm gonna take the valve cover back off. Or I mean, not the valve cover. I'm sorry. I'm going to take the stator cover back off. Check the gasket again. Make sure everything's tightened down. It could also be the residual oil just coming off the gas tank too. Or I mean the bottom of the case. There was a lot of oil in the bottom of the case due to that. I looked for cracks, didn't see any, and I looked pretty much all around the side and top of the engine just to make sure it wasn't cracked. Like a chain normally splits, smacks the case, and breaks it. It looked pretty solid. Actually, this whole side of the case might even be new. when I got it, there was half of a gasket that went around this and stopped here to here, and they used blue form a gasket on it, and that stuff, our blue RTV, it doesn't work that good. I only recommend it when it calls for no gasket. Sometimes at the top you need RTV, and it doesn't. The manufacturer doesn't require a gasket up top, so depends on what kind of ATV it is. But the valve cover, I keep calling it a valve cover. That's a valve cover. the stator cover definitely needs a gasket. It does have one, and there is a decent amount of pressure down there. As you see, the oil cooler right here comes down and it goes underneath. So the oil, this is actually a wet stator and a wet starter. So you definitely need some form of gasket in there so it doesn't have too much pressure going through, otherwise it's going to piss everywhere. So yeah, unfortunately this weekend, not going to have any videos on driving these, but hopefully by next weekend I'll have the Raptor done. And the CR80 I'll probably have ready to go just to test it if I don't have anything else. It's a 2000, but they've made them the same since like the mid-80s, early 80s even. So we'll take a look at that. But they made these ATVs, the Raptor 660s, from 2001 to 2005. They were wicked fast. They were a competitor to the Banshee. The Banshee was made forever. But these were the four-stroke versions of the Banshee killers that Yamaha made too. And they're back and forth with which one's better. And I would have to say the four-stroker has a lot more low end, lifts up right away, and gets going. But the Banshee, when it screams, it goes. I would have a Raptor over a Banshee, in my opinion. Depends on what kind of ride you're doing. Again, if you're doing dune riding, Banshee might be a little bit better. If you're doing trail and dune riding, this is the one. So, hopefully next week you guys see this thing in action.